Hey, yo, what's up? It's Smooth.
Vaughn.
This is Riggs.
And Slick Money.
And you are now listening to the
Switch Style Podcast.
Welcome to the Switch Style Podcast, where we encourage you to think beyond what you hear. I'm your host, Smooth, and here joining me are Riggs and Vaughn. Riggs, what up, man?
What's going on, man? How's everybody doing tonight?
I'm great.
What's up?
Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Well, audience, welcome back to the Switch Style Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Smooth, and joining me are Riggs and Vaughn, of course. And on episode 35, we're bringing you our album review of A Tribe Called Quest. We got it from here. Thank you for your service. So before we get into it, we'll actually give you a quick chart update and let you know about a couple new albums that are coming out on Black Friday. So before we get into it, if you like what you hear, remember to follow us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, all at Switch Style Podcast. And also remember to follow us on Facebook,
Instagram,
and
Twitter.
All right, here we go. You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. Congratulations, Tribe Called Quest. We got it from here. Thank you for your service. Debuts at number 1 on Billboard's 200 chart, earning 135,000 units. 112,000 of those were actually traditional album sales. Any thoughts on that?
Oh man, I'm glad for him. That's big, especially in the climate, the way album sales are going. Nowadays with all the internet and the downloading. That's awesome. I'm happy for my people.
Yeah, me too.
Hip hop is still alive.
I definitely agree. And hip hop is definitely alive with this one, and we'll tell you more about that later on. And also, just a few more notes. We Got It From Here is Tribe's second number 1 album. Their 1996 album, Beats, Rhymes, and Life, hit number 1 on August 17th, 1996, which was 20 years and 3 months ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I got it just after I first got married, and man, I had so much anticipation. I opened it, put it in the player, and man, it's alright.
Disappointed, huh?
A little bit.
Yeah. According to Fife at the time, that was the beginning of the end for him. At least he thought it was at the time, according to the Beats, Rhymes, and Life documentary. So congratulations, Tribe, our new number 1 album in the country. And on the Hot 100, Riggs, you missed the great news last week. We finally got a number 1, a new number 1. Ray Shremmerd and Gucci Mane, they earned their second consecutive week at number 1 with Black Beatles.
I checked it out.
Yeah, what you think?
It's okay.
It's all right. Yeah, it's definitely not the Tribe Called Quest.
No.
But yeah, I'm happy for Ray Shremmerd. I'm happy for him, and Mike Will and Gucci Mane, of course. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of either one of them. I really like Mike Will's production, but for them to, they stay in their lane and they make party music. There's a demographic for it, and people obviously love it. So,
To be honest, Gucci Mane's album that came out not too long ago, a couple months ago, it's actually a pretty good album.
Everybody looking. Everybody looking.
Everybody look.
It's it's pretty good. I was surprised.
Yeah, and with Gucci Mane, his work ethic is almost second to none in the industry. I mean, the guy has put out 3 albums this year, so he's well deserving of it. And so are Ray Shremmerd and Mike Will. So congratulations to them. You guys have anything else?
Congrats.
Cool. Well, before we move on to what's new, again, if you like what you hear, remember to follow us on iTunes, Google Play Music, and SoundCloud, all at
Switch
Style
Podcast. And also follow us on Facebook,
Instagram,
and
Twitter.
all right, here we go. Black Friday, November 25th. New releases will be available from 2-time Grammy-winning superstar Garth Brooks, who's back with his 11th studio album, Gunslinger. And 2-time Grammy-winning R&B star The Weeknd is back with his 6th album, Starboy. Who do you guys expect to debut at number 1?
That's a hard one. I would prefer to see The Weeknd. But, get that. But I don't know. Garth Brooks he got a big following. You know
He
what I mean?
does.
And I'm not mad at Garth.
Yeah.
So that's a hard one to call. But I don't know, with the climate of the way things are going right now, I'm gonna go ahead and say Garth Brooks.
Garth Brooks, I agree. Vaughn, what about you?
Oh, you going the high road. I think everyone would want to see The Weeknd, see what they're about to put out. I don't know. Maybe Garth.
Okay. And one note, audience, just want to throw this out there. A nice little diamond or nugget, whatever you want to call it, nice jewel. Garth Brooks is the largest selling solo artist of all time. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Only the Beatles as a group have sold more albums than Garth Brooks.
Get out of here. I did not know that.
He had 7 diamond albums.
Wow.
7 albums that went diamond. Sold 10 million 7 times.
Yeah, it's a good chance it's going to be Garth Brooks.
Right.
Yeah. And I think his total record sales were around like in 130 million something.
Right.
Something around there. And I should have written all this stuff down. It's not good on my part. But congratulations, Garth and Weeknd.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to both of them, actually. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And then they in 2 different categories, so
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and so the Weeknd, he might have a little momentum. He was on the American Music Awards last night. So we'll see what happens.
did you check that out?
I did. I watched
The highlights.
some snippets of it. I was talking to your boy Slick at the same
okay.
time. I was talking to him and watching the football game.
Okay.
So
We miss Slick Money.
I
yeah,
know.
yeah, he's around. He told me to tell you guys hello, and audience, if you listen to us, if you know who Slick Money is, he says hello, and he'll be back at some point.
Looking forward to it.
So congratulations again, Garth Brooks and The Weeknd. And before we move on to the album review, again, if you like what you hear, remember to follow us on iTunes, Google Play Music, and SoundCloud, all at Switch Style Podcast. And also check us out on Facebook
Instagram.
and
Twitter.
all right, here we go.
Here we go. Here we go.
So audience, if you hadn't heard any of our reviews, you know we like to give you just a quick bio on the artist. We just want to let you know who they are, where they come from. We want to give you an idea of what they've done in the past, and we want to give you sort of an idea of how they approach the music and how it all comes to be. So here we go. A Tribe Called Quest formed in Queens, New York in the mid to late 80s and include group members Jonathan Davis, who later became Kamal Fareed, Malik Taylor, Jerobi White, and Ali Shaheed Muhammad. In 1989, they signed with Jive Records and a year later released their debut album, People's Instinctive Travels and Paths of Rhythm. In 1991, they released their classic sophomore LP, The Low End Theory, and the equally impressive Midnight Marauders followed in 1993. 1996's Beats, Rhymes, and Life and 1998's The Love Movement preceded an 18-year on-again, off-again break that included sporadic pop-up performances. In November 2015, a reunion performance on Jimmy Fallon's Tonight Show led to a renewed energy in their final album, which we're reviewing right now. We Got It From Here. Thank you for your service. So here we go. Riggs, I'll go to you first. What stood out to you most?
What stood out to me most was the fact that they jumped right in, and their flow with all the tracks that they had was just ridiculous. Like there was a point where Q-Tip was a little off, like, you know, on his rhyming. You know what I mean? He always had good music, like even on his solo albums and on later Tribe albums. But there was something that was just kind of a little off. But boy, if he's not all the way back on, just the flow is crazy. It's Tribe, it's still good.
Vaughn, what about you? What stood out to you?
What stood out to me is they did not lose it, not one bit. You definitely have to be a hip hop fan in order to appreciate this. It was well deserved. I loved it. I loved it. So they didn't lose nothing about themselves. They still stayed the same, and the collaborations they had flowed well. It was just good. It was a good album.
Glad to hear both of you guys say that. And I agree with everything you all said. But audience, let me preface my comments
Okay.
by saying this. If you've listened to us before, and Riggs and I talked about it before the show, I absolutely despise long albums. 16 tracks, in my opinion, is long, and I'm not a big fan of guest features either. But in this case, considering that I'm a huge Tribe Called Quest fan, and this is their final album, this is what they're saying now. Everybody says that, but there could be one later down the line, but I kind of sort of believe them, but I also don't.
Right.
But to get back to my point, I despise long albums and guest features. But in this case, I'm giving them a pass because this is obviously the last album.
Thank you.
But what stood out What stood out most to me was the Trinity Gladiator. And audience, if you haven't heard it, I'm referring to Five Dog.
Diggy Dog.
And Five Dog, if you've listened to Tribe before, he's had several monikers or several pseudonyms or nicknames, whatever you want to call it, throughout the years. And he came up with this new one, Trinity Gladiator. He was born in New York, but his parents are from Trinidad. So I think he only appears on, I want to say about 7 or 8 tracks. In my opinion, lyrically, he was the most consistent. I was the most intrigued by what he said. They all said great stuff, but I think the album as a whole is a tribute to Phife. And audience, if you've been on Mars, if you've been under a rock or wherever you've been, Five Dog actually passed in March of this year. He died from complications of diabetes, and we'll talk about that later on. But that was what stood out most to me. Von, let me ask you this. Considering that they've been gone for 18 years, and you alluded to it earlier, how were they able to make it seem so effortless? You said that they hadn't lost anything. What do you think about that?
I just think because they just 100% float. They could just flow. They just flowed the whole. And once you had something, it was like, I felt like I was back in the day listening to them. That's how I felt. So I think it was effortless. They just was spitting. They did it.
So for the most part, what you're saying is it's like a bike. Once you learn how to ride it,
you
never forget.
You never forget.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just did it. They did a good job.
Riggs, what about you?
Well, I mean, yeah, they didn't change their formula. You know what I mean?
Nope, they stuck to what they knew.
The tracks were a little different, a little more open, airy, which was perfect for them to just go ahead and ride the beat and just put their thing on it. So I appreciated that. Like I said, lyrically and rhymes, I appreciated Jarobi. Jarobi had a lot. I think he probably did as much on this album as he's done on all the other albums.
Yes, he should have been what stood out most to me.
Right. So he came and he blessed the album. And like you said, Phife Dawg, same Phife. He came with it. And especially that, the track we were talking about earlier, we'll talk about it. That was pretty much my favorite track. He really came and he just killed it.
And for me, they probably made a conscious decision going in saying that this is going to be their last album. And they rapped like it. They rapped like they were never going to rhyme again. And it's almost as if Phife Dawg knew he was going to die. And he rapped like he knew this is going to be my last 5, 6, or 7 songs. And I'm about to give it all I got. And Tip knew this was his last chance. And even an audience, as soon as you listen to the album, if you hadn't listened to it yet, Consequence and Busta Rhymes, they actually show up on the album. They're honorary members of the group this time around. But everybody show up, but more specifically the main 3, Jarobi, Phife, and Tip, they showed up like this was their last album. But I think that's really what made it so effortless. There was a sense of urgency, and they went out and said, we got to do it.
They did it.
Yeah, and they did it. Riggs, let me ask you this. They continue the social commentary we've heard all year. I mean, the social political theme that's been around all year. But in your opinion, what makes their perspective so unique?
Well, for one thing, it is very hard to make a conscious song or a song that is speaking about something, an injustice or whatever, and make it sound good. Because generally, it's going to sound kind of corny, even though it's talking about something positive. It just is what it is. But they come from that I guess raw street perspective, not thug and hoodlum street perspective, but street poet perspective. And they just very eloquently and cleverly, put it out there. And when you hear it, the way it just plays in your mind, it makes it just enjoyable. It makes it resonate, and it makes it stick. So I think that's their formula. How they go ahead and put their consciousness out.
Vaughn, what about you? What makes their perspective so unique?
I agree with Riggs. It's like they wasn't giving it to you all at once. They put a little bit in here, put a little bit in there, and then they, because like you said, it'd be corny if they just go all. But they was, they a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, and like you said, they from the streets. straight from the street, so they know what's going on, and they just spit it.
And for me, this is where that group dynamic comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
We reviewed Common last week, and Common's only one guy.
Mm-hmm.
So you only got to see things through the eyes of Common. But on this album in particular, you got to see things through the eyes of Q-Tip, Phife Dawg, Ja Roby, Busta Rhymes, Consequence. I mean, you got the perspectives of, over 5 or 6 different people, which created this huge pot of just socio-political goodness. I mean, it's really a call to action to, they're saying a lot of things, and they start off on the space program.
Right.
They start off saying, hey, we got to get it together.
Yes.
Black people, we doing it for you. We doing it for, all the mothers, the fathers, the broken homes, whatever the case may be. We doing it for you. And they come out with such a sense of urgency, and you can hear it throughout the entire album. And it just sets, the space program specifically set the tone for the entire album. But I'll move on. Vaughn, let me ask you this, and we've mentioned this previously. Lyrically, who do you think had the best verses, or who shined the brightest to you?
Well, I'm a Q-Tip fan, so I like Q-Tip, and I'm gonna say Busta. Now I love Busta too, but for me, it was Q-Tip.
Bonita Applebum. Riggs, what about you?
I like the whole collective, honestly. Like, the way everybody kind of meshes together. Flow-wise, Q-Tip is that dude. But Phife has those lines that, he's got those one-liners that, that he comes with, those punchlines that like you say, his monikers and stuff, what he calls himself, how he, ends a bar or whatever. You remember that. So that's cool. And then Jarobi, he was just spitting. Busta Rhymes, he comes with the Caribbean flavor, and with his unique voice, and his power and energy. So I mean, all of that together, that makes a great album. Consequence, to me, he's just kind of there. You know what I mean? I'm not mad at him. He doesn't do anything like bad, but like he didn't do anything that was like, wow, Consequence. You know what I mean?
And audience, just a quick backstory on Consequence. If you don't know Consequence, he's Q-Tip's cousin. So there's sort of some, I won't call it nepotism, but there's obviously favoritism. And Consequence, he made his debut on Beats, Rhymes, and Life. That was the first time we heard Consequence. So he sort of gets a pass just because obviously he's Q-Tip's cousin.
Right, and he's not bad.
Yeah, he's not bad. He's not bad.
And I'm not mad at nepotism.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with your family hooking you
There's
up.
no way benefit us, but hey.
Right.
Not mad at it.
But for me, lyrically, they all stood toe to toe. But Rigg said it. Jarobi was the wild card. What we got from him, I didn't expect that, because the last time we heard from him was the first album. I think, because I don't remember him being on the Low End Theory. I should have went back and listened to it, but it's been a while. But I don't remember him being on the Low End Theory. And he left the group while they were recording the Low End Theory to pursue his own dream.
Right, and then he also he collaborated with them with a lot of their music, even though he wasn't necessarily rhyming with them or whatever. With him and Ali Shaheed Muhammad. So he was behind the scenes for still some of their music on later albums, but not necessarily rhyming on them.
But he was the wild card. I mean, he came so hard. I mean, dude was spitting on this album. He was just rapping. I mean, everybody was. And after watching interviews, they would say how, they would kind of get in these camps. The album was recorded in Q-Tip's home, the Ab Lab, his studios, which are in New Jersey. But they all got together, and Jarobi was the wild card. Him being his level of rap on this album, actually, in my opinion, took it to a next level, because we knew what we were going to get from Tip and Phife Dawg. But Jarobi's, his input, his addition, well, he's been in the group, but we hadn't heard him. But his raps, I mean, just took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah, you're definitely right. I definitely did not expect it.
Yeah, definitely didn't expect that from him. Vaughn, let me ask you this. The whole album is packed full of guest features. I mean, Kanye West, Anderson .Paak, Andre 3000, Marsha Ambrosius, Elton John, among many others. Who was your favorite guest feature?
Well, of course, I love Marsha Ambrosius, And my boy Buster.
Woo-ha!
Yeah, I got you all in chat.
Riggs, what about you?
Actually, now that you mentioned Anderson .Paak, I love that track. We really killed it. And then the way Tip comes on right after him, it seems like it's going to be just mostly like an Anderson .Paak thing, more like, I don't know, but he gets on there and just, rides it out.
Yeah, he does. In audience, Anderson .Paak, however he says his name, it appears on Moving Backwards. And if you hadn't heard Anderson .Paak's album, it actually came out earlier this year. It's called Malibu, and it's one of my favorite albums this year. I've actually mentioned it a few times on the podcast. So check out Anderson .Paak's. It's an amazing album. So Vaughn, let me ask you this. In the past, in my opinion, their production was their best attribute. It was the thing that made them stand out among the crowd in the early 90s when they came out. Is it possible that the production could be the album's weak point?
Well, y'all know I'm not the production girl. Y'all
Okay.
be all into the production, and I just like what I hear. I don't go all deep. Y'all go real deep. I don't go that deep. So this might not be a question for me. For real.
Riggs, what do you think?
I don't know if I would say a weak point, but it's definitely not as strong as it was in the past, which might have worked in their favor because, okay, so let's say they tried to, really, really come in and it was like, heavy production. Kind of where do they fit? What tracks? I'm pretty sure. I mean, they can spit on anything, honestly. But the fact that a lot of the tracks were just left kind of open for them to, spread their wings and just ride them was cool. Like the Kids' song with Andre. That was a little different and it was open. I liked it. The Anderson .Paak, I think that was produced well. There's a few songs that really were, I think, produced well, and other ones were just. There are a couple that kind of sounded dated to me, and I wish they would have come a little different.
So what you mean when you say dated? You mean like bringing stuff back from the
These could have been beats sitting around for
Okay.
5-10 years.
Okay.
15, 20.
And
Yeah.
bringing in something that
Right.
Okay.
Where I would have liked to hear something on a couple of tracks a little fresher, like when it comes to the production. So it didn't have, because there is a period of hip hop that was kind of stale, and some of the tracks were reminiscent of that kind of stale period.
Yep.
I still like the songs,
Yeah.
because of what they did to them, but I think if they would have produced them a bit different, and maybe put more into it, and kind of just change things up a little bit more modern, I would have enjoyed the album that much more. But I can't necessarily say that the production is a blemish on the album. Yeah.
that was deep.
Yeah, it was. And he actually he actually made me he made me think about my answer in a different way. Cause it makes sense that Q-Tip would leave the production kind of sparse, cause it opens them up. It opens up because you have so many different voices who have to. The beat has to. It's easier to adjust the production to what they're doing vocally, the lyricists, as opposed to them adjusting to the beat. So what Rick said makes a lot of sense, that they left it a lot more sparse, a lot more open. Q-Tip did, and the audience, Q-Tip, him and Blair Wells, his longtime engineer, they produced the entirety of the album. But for me, Q-Tip is my favorite MC producer of all time. And, this could probably be argued. He's just my favorite. I think he's the best. He's the perfect embodiment of the best MC producer combination. And that's including Kanye West, Dr. Dre, whoever you want to mention. And I mentioned that the production was always their strong suit, because when they came out, NWA had just emerged a year or two earlier. Public Enemy was coming out, and they all had these hard, really driven, really loud, really boisterous production. And Q-Tip and Tribe, they just came out, and it was everything completely left. And
Jazz.
yeah. And a lot of people, De La Soul preceded Tribe, obviously, but to me, in terms, if I'm picking groups, it's not even close to me.
Hands down.
Yeah, I'm Tribe all day. I like De La Soul, but I prefer Tribe any day. But the production, initially, back to my point, production was the thing that set them apart in the beginning, in the early 90s. And I didn't expect Q-Tip to have an album full of jazz samples. I just expected the level of production to be better, because Q-Tip is in my opinion, is one of the greatest hip hop producers of all time. I mean, Low End Theory and Midnight Marauders are arguably, they're at least probably 2 of the 20 best hip hop albums of all time.
Yeah. And even on his own albums,
The Renaissance,
oh my goodness. That Ride song, oh my goodness. The production,
yeah,
stupid. So I mean, a lot of the, of course, the early Tribe stuff, I think was more so Ali Shaheed Muhammad.
Who surprisingly wasn't involved in the album. And his name is nowhere in the credits, audience, which was a huge disappointment for me.
Same here, because I mean, I do believe if he would have been a part of it, like maybe those few tracks,
Yeah.
would have been a little different. Like I said, not disappointed in the album, but he lyrics to go the way he did Minnie Riperton's voice,
Boy.
to make it sound like it was just a note that's playing through the whole thing.
Right.
When it's actually her voice, oh my goodness, brilliant. So yeah, and the production could have been a little struggle, but like I said, I'm not mad.
That's one reason I'm not a fan of 16 album tracks, because as the album goes on, you could hear that the production, it kind of, in my opinion, it starts to wane. The production, the quality of the production dips as the album progresses. And that was my problem with the whole 16 track thing. Like, there were a few tracks like Mobius, none of them were on that one. That was all Consequence of Busta Rhymes. That shouldn't have been on the album.
I'd agree with that one.
They should have left that off. Black Spasmodic, I like what they did lyrically on it, but I could have done without that one.
Yeah.
Those mainly, and I really like the production on Conrad Tokyo, but
So do I. I like that song.
Yeah,
I like and that was probably the closest thing that resembled like the old Tribe, in my opinion. But I don't know, I probably could have done without that one. But for the most part, there were at least 2 tracks. If they could have trimmed it down to 14 or 13, I think it would have been a stronger album.
Now, I like the Conrad Tokyo joint.
Yeah, the beat is dope.
And for me personally, the one that is the most Tribe song is the Donald.
Yeah.
That is my joint.
Well, speaking of favorite songs, we might as well jump into it. Vaughn, did you have any favorite songs?
Oh, yeah. The Donald, Moving Backwards, Lost Somebody, and that was 2, 5. This Generation and Kids. And,
Okay.
of course, the
Space Program?
Space Program, yes.
This Generation.
Rule the nation.
Yeah, audience. This Generation samples musical youths. Pass the Dutchie.
Dutchie,
Pass
yeah.
the Dutchie from the
Yeah, boy, did that take me to my childhood. Boy, I used to love that song.
Pass the Dutchie? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Riggs, what about you? Some of your favorite songs?
I would have to say All the Same plus, was it Killing Season?
Yeah, with Talib Kweli.
Yeah. That those all, and I don't know if you mentioned the last song. I just thought Donald or whatever.
Yeah.
The Donald.
Yeah, like I really like the whole album, like you say, with the exception of maybe 2 tracks.
Killing Season was amazing, and Jerobi, he had a really great line in Killing Season. He made reference to Strange Fruit, which was Billie Holiday's, one of her classic songs from when it come out, Riggs, in the 30s or 40s.
I think 40s.
40s. Billie Holiday's Strange Fruit, which is an amazing song. If you haven't heard Strange Fruit, and it refers to the lynching of black men or black people, not just the lynching, but the killing in general of black men. And that's what Killing Season is about. They're referring to all of the killings that we're experiencing these days, but it's a very deeply political album, audience. So
That was 1954.
1954, there you go, Vaughn. Strange Fruit. And Nina Simone, I want to say Nina Simone covered Strange Fruit as well. And Vaughn, let me ask you this. We talked about Consequence and Busta Rhymes. They're honorary members of the group this time around. Would you like to see another Tribe Called Quest album with Consequence and Busta Rhymes?
Yeah, like I said, Consequence, he was there. But I think Busta, he made an appearance. He was there.
Yeah.
You can feel, anytime Busta spitting, you can feel him. You be like, it make you hype.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think he gave a very good presence in the album. So I wouldn't mind seeing him. Yeah, I think he made it. He did awesome.
Riggs, what about you?
What I think, with the momentum from this album, I think what will probably happen is there'll be another album and may have the word tribe in it, or it may have the word Crest. But I do believe the moniker is going to change a bit because Phife is not here anymore. You know, which I think, I hope they would do, and that would just only be only right. I would love to see another album with Q-Tip, Jarobi, and Busta Rhymes.
Yeah, forget no disrespect, Consequence. I mean, I'm sure you're a very nice guy, but
you know, you got to hook your family up, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. I guess so.
We all eat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I'm like you said, I'm not mad at Consequence, but I just don't see that he really fits like that. If he's on there, it's not like I would be like, oh, Consequence on there, I'm not gonna buy it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna listen to it. You know, nothing like that. But I definitely would like to see another album.
I had to look up and see who Consequence was.
Yeah, Q-Tip's cousin. He like
they
I said,
didn't say that though. But
isn't he on Love and Hip Hop New York? Wasn't he on Love and Hip Hop?
Yeah, he was on that. He was on that, and he signed to Kanye West's label, Good Music, and he released his first proper album. He had a lot of mixtapes, but Don't Quit Your Day Job. It came out in, I want to say it was 2007.
Really don't quit your
Yeah, Don't Quit Your Day Job.
Is that art imitating life?
I guess so. I guess so. But
well, he's the type who he probably needs to be heavily produced and have to have tracks which kind of force him to pause, because he just kind of goes on the same, doesn't go up or down, he just kind of goes on the same tone a whole song through, and the consequences, you know what I'm saying, that through the whole thing. So he needs to I don't know, probably take a speech class on pace, pitch, and power.
well, if you don't have it by, because he's been rapping, Beats, Rhymes, and Life came out in '96, so he's been rapping for 20 years. If you don't have it by now,
I think it's them teeth.
Yeah, and no disrespect to Consequence, but my thing is guest features should elevate the song. To me, that's the purpose of a guest feature. And perfect example, Scenario from the Low End Theory. And audience, if you hadn't heard Scenario, that was pretty much Busta Rhymes' coming out party.
Right.
I mean, he bust through on Scenario and just took the whole world by storm.
Mm-hmm.
And he elevated Scenario. If you take Busta's verse off Scenario, it would be a good song, but he just took it to a whole nother level.
He sure did. Now, I'm not gonna take anything away from his just another case out of PTA, because that's when I first heard him come out with Leaders of the New School, and it's pretty much the same thing. He, without him, that song or that group, just nothing.
Right.
Didn't work.
Right.
Busta Rhymes, somebody infamous. Always, exactly. And then same, when it comes to Scenario, on the Scenario and the Scenario remix, he killed both of them. Him and Tip, really. Well, actually, all of them.
They all did, yeah.
All of them. Even the other members of Leaders of the New School did their little thing. Who's that Brown? Charlie Brown, all that.
Yeah.
So, but Busta Rhymes, he's like Shaq. You could teach somebody Kobe size to do a bunch of different things, but you can't teach a Shaq. He's just Shaq because he's Shaq. He's born Shaq.
Yeah, he was. And Busta's uniquely his own. And, that's always been my thing with guest features. More often than not, they fail to meet expectations. And I think you see a lot of that on this album. And I could have done without Talib Kweli. The only really feature on this album.
I like Talib Kweli. He did all right.
Yeah, he was straight. Like Andre, in my opinion, he was probably the only guest feature I cared about. And that, to me, that really wasn't. I'm gonna say it wasn't Andre's best performance, but I think Andre has been better
for sure.
But I think that song fit him.
It does, and it was a good song. But like I feel what you're saying though. He definitely didn't take anything away from it.
No,
he definitely did add to it. But on other songs, he's a little more animated, a bit more clever, a bit more strength to his rhymes on other songs. So I could see if he would have kind of added those elements to a greater degree, his feature would have been better. But it was still good.
Yeah,
it was still worth him being on there.
Yeah.
And the song we're talking about is Kids, and all you parents, everybody with kids, you need to listen to it because they speak from the perspective of a parent and a kid. Yeah, this album it's really an amazing album. And let me ask you guys this: where does this rank among tribes? They have 6 albums, But in you guys' opinion, where does it rank?
Well, it's my favorite.
Wow.
It's one of my favorites. And see, I've never been the type that go back on to albums and listen to the whole thing. I just started that later on in life, listening to the whole thing. So I would take things from the radio play. But I would say that this is one of my favorites to listen to. Like you said, it's a couple of we could have lived without. But it's one of my favorites.
Riggs, what about you?
I say for me it's tied at number 3 with Midnight Marauder, and the first two actually, they're all my favorites. It could be just because of how deep I was into Tribe at the time.
Right.
I'm not gonna say that either the production or the rhymes were so much better or whatever, but it's just the time. The first album was my favorite, second album my second favorite, third album is my third favorite, but I love them all. So this one, I guess, is to me just tied to the third album, tied at number 3.
I can live with that. I can live with the third album as well. I think it ranks right behind the Low End Theory and Midnight Marauders. But it's first in maybe overall importance for them specifically. Maybe not to the fan in general, but I think when Q-Tip, Ali, Jarobi, when they look back, this will probably be the album that they'll connect with the most, that they probably enjoyed making the most. Because throughout me watching interviews and reading some stuff, they said that they really had fun making this album. And, they dedicate 2 songs to Phife, Lost Somebody, and The Donald. But in terms of importance, it's their last album. I don't think it's going to be. But in terms of importance, but overall, in terms of the quality, the listenability of it, is that a word? I don't know, but made up one. I rank it right behind, and it's arguably 4th behind Low End Theory, Midnight Marauders, People's, name's too long, I'm not going to say it. And then probably this one. But they can discard Beats, Rhymes, and Life and the Love Movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can just wipe those from the discography. Sweep those out. Toss those out. Do like Queen Latifah and set it off. Pass me a tape.
Yep.
She was throwing stuff
You
out.
gotta throw it out. You gotta throw it out.
They can take the 2 of those albums together and make a maxi single. Like,
Pretty much.
Keep It Moving was a good song, and then I think there's another one on Beats, Rhymes, and Life, and then there's probably 2 on the Love Movement.
Yeah, see, that's why I said I just take something out and I don't go to it, the rest of it. I just get what I want. And
So you like Queen Latifah? You just throwing stuff out the window.
Yeah, but
Buzz.
This one, because I listened to the whole thing, I would say this one I had more than one song.
Well, guys, let me ask you this. Last question. Riggs, will you still be listening to it 6 months? Well, a month from now.
For sure.
Me too.
What about you?
Me too.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
I'm already adding stuff to my playlist.
Yeah, I agree. I'll be jamming this one all the way through Thanksgiving, all the way through New Year's. And, it's a great album. It actually brought closure, not only for Tribe, but the fans as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can walk away satisfied knowing that one of my favorite groups of all time, they've sealed their legacy with an amazing piece of work.
And it's something when you hear something and it just it brought me back to that time when I was like,
Vaughn was out there partying. Vaughn was out there partying.
Was I? Oh my gosh. Hey, I met Buster before,
Really?
Hey.
You need to call him.
Hey. So, it took me back. It took me back. And that's a good thing. Like, that's why I said at the beginning, like, you truly got to be a hip hop fan to love. Probably somebody who just listening to it, they not going to understand it. But if you know their work and you've been a fan of theirs, you going to love it.
Me, one of the first cassettes I bought, I bought Tribe and Fear of a Black Planet from Public Enemy the same day. They came out around the same time, and boy, I used to fall asleep to the Tribe, put on my headphones and just be chilling, bob my head, and fall asleep to them like at least 3 nights out the week.
So there you go, audience. And just to put it in perspective, it's a very socio-political album, and we reviewed Common's Black America Again last week. Common's album is a lot heavier than this. Mm-hmm. listening to Common's album, it's like talking to your grandfather or your father, experiencing the world through their eyes. And no disrespect, Common. I love Common, but the message, it doesn't fall on deaf ears. But the point I'm trying to make is when Tribe, when they talk about the socio-political events or the current events that's happening, they do it. It's more fun when they talk about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't weigh on your heart. It bounces through your mind.
Yeah.
Right.
That's deep. That's deep.
It's more fun. It's more fun when they talk about it. So just to kind of sum it up, that was my pretty much take on it.
And everybody loves Q-Tip. Who don't know Q-Tip?
Q-Tip, he was in Poetic Justice,
Yeah.
trying to get her to get in the back seat, and
Scared.
got popped. Ain't that the dude that was talking to trash in the mall the other day? So yeah, Q-Tip, and condolences to Q-Tip's character, Quantel or whatever his name was in Poetic Justice. But yeah, guys, that's it. You guys have anything else?
Again, the album cover. I'm trying to figure out what's up with that. Do y'all understand?
It looks like a pair of dice on the album cover. I don't know exactly what it is. Are you talking about the silhouette of the lady that appeared on Low End Theory? Yeah, it's a silhouette of a lady or whoever whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but one last question. This is what I want to ask you guys. What do you make of the title of the album? We got it from here. Thank you for your service. What does that mean?
They bowing out.
I didn't read to find out what the title meant.
Well, I don't know. I'm just asking, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
What I would say is, like, even if you go to Wikipedia, they pretty much started a sound. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people who came and kind of went along the same path, and nobody does it like Tribe.
Yeah.
So to me, it's more like, okay, thank you very much. We got it from here, and boom, this album.
I thought it was
Dropping
drop the mic. I thought it was like Randy Watson.
Sexual chocolate.
Randy Watson. But for me, I thought it was a tribute to Fife. Fife, you're gone, but we got it from here. Thank you for your service. See you on the other side. That's what I kind of got from it. But it's
I could dig that.
it's ambiguous.
Yeah.
It could be interpreted in a lot of different ways.
I'm sure we'll find out in the near future.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find out. And it's one thing I want to mention. I read an interview that Q-Tip and Jarobi they did. I forgot. I think it was with Elliot Wilson of Rap Radar. And if you don't know Elliot Wilson, look him up. Great journalist. But anyway, Q-Tip mentioned that Fife literally gave his life for this album because he was struggling from complications of diabetes, and he was going to dialysis 3 times a week, and he was flying back and forth from Atlanta out to Los Angeles, out to New Jersey, recording the album. And a lot of that probably wore on him at a certain point, which probably ultimately led to his death. So I did want to mention that Fife probably died for this album. That sounds really extreme.
But I think when you love something and you have the passion for it, that probably kept him going too.
Yeah, you're right, and that's how you want to go.
Yeah. Doing what you love.
Especially if you already know your time is short. If you shorten it 6 months to a year, putting out something that leaves a more of a legacy, and more money too.
Yeah.
But, everything for your family.
And I'm sure his family is proud of him.
I'm sure.
Yeah, they are.
I'm sure they are.
Speaking of money, they've sold nearly 5 million albums to date among all 6, the previous 5 of their albums. Real quick, what do you listen to? You guys got anything you're listening to?
I haven't really been listening to much anything new. I'm still in my playlist. But I did check out, I was listening to some Deborah Cox the other day. I was all over her album. Like I said, I have songs on different ones. I don't.
Riggs, what about you?
Ooh, that's a hard one for Riggs because I listen to it all.
He listen to it all.
Yeah.
This
I
man
would
got
say-
some
I would
vinyl
say-
over here, y'all. He got
I
some
would say
vinyl.
Spiral.
Got as much as Q-Tip.
Nah.
He got some vinyl over here.
I would say Spiral Gyra, the Morning Dance album, and the Sunlight album. Yeah, those 2 albums I definitely listened to this week. Good stuff. Check it out.
And for me, I'm going to make it real quick. I'm going Riggs this week. I'm going big. Some of you guys have
Big.
never heard of.
Uh-oh.
And Q-Tip called me himself and said, Jay, I want you to talk about this track. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't. But you know me, I buy all albums and I read the liner notes. And my What Are You Listening To this week comes from this album. Q-Tip sampled it. He sampled the same song twice on This Generation and Lost Somebody. But the name of the group is called Can. They're a progressive rock group, mainly started that craft rock movement out of Germany around the late 60s. And the name of the song is Hallelujah. I guess that's how you say it. Hallelujah. But it's an amazing track. It's over 19 minutes long. It's from their 1971 album, Tago Mago. And again, Q-Tip sampled it for two different songs, This Generation and Lost Somebody. And the name of the group is Can. And the song is Hallelujah. So check it out. Great track. One of the most amazing things I've ever heard. So that's it for me. Let's actually shout some people out and we can go home. Go ahead.
I would like to shout out you guys. We missed you last week. Glad to have you back. To you guys and to my family and friends, thank you for listening. To the audience, thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys. And that's it.
There you go. Well, I'll go. Thank you to everybody who's listening, everybody who hears the sound of my voice, Riggs' voice, Vaughn's voice. Thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Thank you to everybody in our top 10 markets, New York, UK, Singapore, Netherlands, Dallas, Atlanta, Los Angeles. Thank you, everybody, not just in those markets, but everybody who's listening. Thank you to the crew, obviously, Vaughn, Riggs, appreciate you. Thank you, A Tribe Called Quest. Thank you for putting out this amazing piece of work. Hopefully this won't be your last one, but if it is, I won't be disappointed. And Ali Shaheed Muhammad, I'm going to call you out. Kind of disappointed that you weren't involved in the album, and I know, audience, to give you a timeline, I probably should have said this before, but they started recording around probably December up until March, up until Phife died. And if you hadn't listened to the show, Ali Shaheed Muhammad, he produced the music for Luke Cage. So that probably he was probably working on Luke Cage at the same time as they were working on this. But Ali, I'm still disappointed in you, man. I wanted you to be involved, but nonetheless, still great album. Riggs, what you got?
I like to shout out again, same thing, everybody who listens. Hopefully that, you listen on a consistent basis and support us every week. I like to give a shout out to my friend Jack. As soon as I told him about the show, he started listening and has been listening faithfully.
Hey, Jack.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, Jack.
Jack Metropole. So shout out to Jack. Shout out to you guys, the Switch Style Podcast, Jay Vaughn. Shout out to Slick Money,
HM3,
Uncle E. That's my shout out.
There you go. Well, audience, that's it. Again, rest in peace, Phife. Thank you, Tribe. Thank you for an amazing album again. And thank you, audience, and we appreciate it. And I guess we'll see you next week on episode 36. We'll actually be reviewing Bruno Mars's 24 Karat Magic. So, but yeah, let's wrap on episode 35, and we'll see you next week. Peace.